Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined by Artesian girls head coach Jessi Johnson, back from the Christmas break. Both of us with a little bit of cold, so we'll try to get through this here on the show. But a lot to talk about. You guys really busy over the Christmas portion. We talked about it earlier in the season. It looked like you played a lot of your games within the first couple of weeks and a little bit of a break. And then you come to the Christmas break. Really not a break for you guys. A ton of games. Let's start with the game on Friday afternoon. You travel up to Manual for the Manual Christmas Extravaganza, and you get the opportunity to play a team from out of state, Chicago Marshall. Ends up being a fantastic game, and you guys come away with a win.
Yes, we were really excited to just play something that we don't see normally, just a different dynamic that Chicago Marshall had than some of the teams that we had played earlier in the season. We started off pretty slow. I think we got down maybe even as much as 15. Had a little heart-to-heart at halftime, if you will. And then our kids really stepped up in the second half. Our defense, which we've talked about several times on the show before, we actually went man-to-man defense this time and really got ourselves back in the game. It went into overtime, and then we ended up squeaking by 1 point. Able
to come away with a victory over Chicago Marshall over there in a little bit of a unique situation. You guys had played the day before against Franklin Central, I believe, and we didn't really talk about that. You had that win over Franklin Central as well, but you played the evening before, then you come back and you got to go to school, then you get to go up there and play in the afternoon. So a little bit of a different situation for your kids, and also against a very athletic ball club.
I'm a creature of habit, and I think probably the majority of our team is too, and just kind of altering that schedule of what we do on game days maybe was one of the causes for a slow start, but at the end of the day we had a great win, and I thought our kids handled several different in-game situations really well.
Able to get better and get the win on top of that. And then you have the Christmas break, but you guys really didn't get much of a break because you were playing in the Subway Classic over at Columbus. A lot of good teams over there. You guys got to play all of them. And you start off with a really good one in Zionsville, but come away with a very, very good performance.
Yes. I'd probably say to date that is the best game that we as a team have played. Just as a whole, I think from start to finish, the kids were energetic, they were into the game, and we just had everybody step up and perform that game. Zionsville's a tough team, and everything that was on our scouting report, the kids executed, so it was a great win.
Able to get a win over a very good Zionsville team. And then we knew coming in you would probably see a matchup of at least some teams you've already seen before, and that comes to fruition as well. You not only do you play Center Grove, you end up playing Columbus North, but you battle Center Grove first. The first time you played them at their place, they end up with a double-digit win. This time, much closer, so you guys closing that gap a little bit with the Trojans.
I think we ended up losing by 4 points that game, but obviously fouling at the end of the game, and we were right there, if not tied with them, late in the fourth quarter. So we were really happy with our kids' performance in that game. I thought our kids gave a lot of effort, and there's still room for improvement if we happen to see them in the future.
It's a team, the first time you played them, it was a three-point shot from them, especially off the bench. This time around, they didn't shoot it as well. I'm sure some things your kids learning and making some adjustments to what they did the first time around.
We tweaked our defense a little bit. We still kind of stayed with, what we do, though, and what we think that we're good at. But, yeah, our kids really kind of learned from that first matchup with Center Grove, and obviously, kind of cut that gap. And so that's something that we were really proud of them for.
And hopefully you'll probably get another chance at it, because the sectional probably going to go through you guys or Center Grove when it comes up here in a couple of weeks. Your next matchup then was Columbus North, the host Bulldogs, and it's a team that you guys beat earlier in the season. Coach McKee does a great job over there with their ball club. It was a team that benefited from being the host and putting themselves in the, the other bracket, if you will. And I think they probably took advantage of that and were able to get the win.
Yeah, 3 games in 20 hours is a lot for anybody, let alone high school girls. And so that third game, we didn't obviously have as much energy as we had in past games, or maybe the effort wasn't, as high as we would have liked to see it. But, Columbus North is a good team, and they were solid, and they played very solid that game. And, we just couldn't, find that kind of push towards the end of the game to, go past them.
But Columbus North, really nothing. This is a good Columbus team. He's got a good program over there. So coming out of that tournament, we talked about it a little bit. It was going to be a tough road to go for you guys, and the fact that it's a tournament that you're going in, you probably get a chance to play a team you don't normally see in Zionsville. But then once beyond there, you're going to probably play teams that you've seen twice, once, maybe sometimes twice. So you get kind of what you get. Hopefully you get out of that. You get a big win over Zionsville, competitive against Center Grove, maybe to what be expected, not necessarily on your end, but after the tough road with Columbus North. And again, no breaks for you guys. You kind of come back after that break. That's your really going back. That's your 5th game now. We go back to the Thursday game against Franklin Central with the victory, and then you get the win over Chicago Marshall, the win over Zionsville, a couple of losses there in the back half of the Classic, and then you come back a mid-state conference game against Decatur Central on a Friday night, and you're able to go there and improve Decatur Central team. Coach Gibbs has done a pretty good job over there, but you guys are able to get the win.
He's doing an excellent job at Decatur. I have so much respect for Coach Gibbs, and they have just come leaps and bounds in the past year or so. But really proud of how our kids responded after those 2 losses at the end of the Subway Classic. We came back to practice pretty focused, and they came out and played well against Decatur last Friday.
Decatur Central Ball Club, like you said, Coach Gibbs has done a nice job with. They have a good post presence as well, but again, it's your defense that ends up leading the way for you guys.
I think we frustrated, probably their best player, their big post player. She wasn't, getting kind of those easy putbacks. She wasn't getting, to the middle very easily. And so again, I feel like it's a story of the season, but we definitely leaned on our defense that game. Able
to get the win, and it keeps you unbeaten in mid-state conference play with a couple of games coming up, a couple of games left. Then you come back again in the schedule, right back into the John R. Wooden Gym on a Saturday afternoon against a Noblesville Ball Club that down a little bit record-wise, still have some kids that can play. And Noblesville, unfortunately for you guys, ends up pulling away the win on Saturday afternoon.
I hate losing, and just how we had positioned ourselves throughout the game. It's a little disappointing that we kind of lost that at the end. However, that game had so much learning experience for our kids, and it not being a conference game, it not being late in the postseason, we're going to kind of take those lessons and run with it and make sure that our kids, obviously try not to make those same mistakes again.
Able to use, hopefully, the Noblesville game for a learning experience. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from the contest against Noblesville that happened on Saturday afternoon at the John R. Wooden Gym, and just off of the tip controlled by you guys, and you get into your offense right away, and Marlena Kemp wide open.
Yes, we had told the kids that they were going to show a 1-3-1, which they did right off of the tip. And so I think that, again, they executed perfectly what we had talked about, getting the ball inside, moving the ball around a little bit, and Marlena got that wide open layup.
And Marlena, again, going through some contact and finishing, a part of her game that has improved there.
Absolutely. She has improved tremendously, down low and kind of getting banged around a little bit and still finishing. Paige had a great game against Noblesville. I think she was our second leading scorer that game and led us in rebounds. And she's, again, improving with finishing with that contact.
Gracie there, a little hesitation. You'll see it kind of again, just get the defender on your hip and then get to the rim.
Gracie has a great kind of knack for figuring out, when to shoot her shot. She doesn't get too deep against some of those taller defenders, and we've seen her do that a number of times this season.
Now you're going to see a lot of highlights from Ashlyn Traylor. Ashlyn really had a nice game offensively.
She played awesome in this game against Noblesville, and there's another one. And you know what? She's really been just really stepping up here lately. She, I want to say the last 4 or 5 games has just been a huge contributor. We really like having her energy come off the bench, and obviously as a freshman, that's really exciting for the future.
Bethany Mackin made her defender fall and then pulls up from the elbow there. So you'll see, again, Gracie just waiting on the screen, and Noblesville kind of late and rotating over. And you kind of look, the scores close here, but you guys kind of start to pull away, and then you're going to see the scores. As Paige hits one here, you're going to see that You don't score for a while there. Nova's a little bit of chip back at it here. 9-point now, 11-point lead as Ashland comes through.
Yep. You know, I just think that, you know, we had, like I said, we had some mistakes against kind of their half-court pressure. You know, that again, I wasn't really anticipating.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just down the stretch, maybe like in-game situations, you know, maybe our kids just weren't as prepared as they should have been for that, which is obviously we, as the coaching staff, we take fault for that. But again, I think that we're going to learn from that game, and you know, hopefully in 5-6 games from now during the sectional, we'll be better for it.
Always games, always situations throughout the year that are tough for a team to get ready for, mentally focused in. You're coming on the end of a break. You're coming off of just playing a game the night before for a conference. You're playing a team that doesn't have a good record, no matter what anybody says. These kids know what those kids' records are coming in. Parents have talked about it. They've looked at they know coming in. And it's sometimes hard, 15, 16, 17-year-old girls, boys, whoever it may be, to get ready to play and get themselves ready to play in that type of situation.
You know, I remember coming off the bus from Decatur. I want to say it was like 10:15, 10:30, and thinking to myself, you know, I'm going to be here in less than 12 hours. And, you know, just me having that kind of mental fatigue, I know that the kids do, you know, as well as being physically fatigued. So, you know what, I'm proud of them. I, you know, wouldn't trade my team for the world. And I think, you know, with these last 5 games coming in the sectional, you know, these kids can, you know, still have something to prove to people.
You got the last part of the season coming up. Tonight, Terre Haute South, the opponent. Before you get to the game, it'll be senior night, so it's going to be a chance for you to honor your first class here, the seniors, from that tonight at John Owen Gym.
Yeah, so we'll have 3 seniors that we honor, Bethany Mackin, Gracie Johnson, and Abby Bauman. And you know what, these 3 have just been awesome, you know, coming in as a new coach, especially for the upperclassmen, seniors specifically. I think it's hard, you know, you are totally changing everything that you've done basically for the past, 10 years. And these 3 just have adapted so well. They've been leaders. So we're really excited to, you know, celebrate them tonight.
Have a chance to honor them before the game. And then you've got the contest against Terre Haute South. And again, midweek game, coming off of the game gets over. Well, I know the kids are probably anxious. You're probably anxious to get back in and maybe get that bad taste of the loss against Noblesville out there. But what are you going to see? What do you expect to see out of Terre Haute South on tonight?
Terre Haute South has 2 great guards. You know, they have a senior. She's a veteran. She puts up big numbers every single night. And then they also have a sophomore guard who might as well just be her clone, because they are just one and the same. So we are really looking to defend better than we did against Noblesville, and again, just play our game while containing those 2 best players.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.
That's Artesian head coach Jessi Johnson here inside Artesian basketball. Like I said, a lot to talk about. We made it through, we think, both battling some illness. I think everybody around here is doing the same. Kids will try to get healthy tonight out on the court, senior night, as they battle Terre Haute South. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach Jessi Johnson for coming in. For Coach Johnson, along with the RTV2 class who helped produce it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian basketball.